Hi, welcome back. In this lesson, we transition from theory to practice by reconfiguring our hierarchy of organizational values into a simple discovery process. We'll explore how each value within our framework can be developed with a single direct question based on how we actually talk and think about our business, brand, and products. Collectively, the following 17 questions will help you construct the storytelling and marketplace building blocks, plus dual metrics that articulate and measure your brand narrative. You could be talking to a customer, a new employee, an investor, or even a GPT, and everybody needs to understand what your brand is all about. In some cases, the brand might simply be you. I work with a lot of coaches, consultants, and other advisors who sell their expertise, so they might answer these questions from a more personal perspective. Regardless, here's what the 17 questions lead to. A lot of early-stage businesses view branding as something to address later, once they have venture money or stable cash flow. As long as the website describes a clear product or service, they just get out and add the sizzle in one-to-one sales. That's inefficient. As a business matures, value centrism shouldn't be viewed merely as something for an Apple or Patagonia. Simply consider one practical benefit: using your hierarchy of values to establish a voice print for your GPT. One of mine, in fact, which has been trained on both the value-centric design methodology and the 17 values, provided this set of benefits, which I only edited for length. Want to guide your business with foresight and purpose, create meaningful connections, drive innovation, and build a legacy? With a value-centric approach, you'll realize enhanced brand differentiation, increased customer loyalty, enhanced customer experience, improved employee engagement, greater market resilience, innovation that matters, sustainable practices, strategic clarity. Later, we'll explore the ways in which the value-centric methodology provides key logic for training GPTs. To get our discovery process rolling, let's go back to our visual framework, the hierarchy of organizational values. Every organization needs to establish a progressive set of values that articulate both the product and cultural values that describe benefits, positioning, and value prop, the values of intrinsic desirability, and the customer and market values of fair return, which enable it to acquire and retain customers and capture and then move a market. To establish ours, we're going to need to shuffle our hierarchy a bit and address our values as part of a discovery interview, tackling each the way a marketer would with a client. That task really begins here, midway up the hierarchy. Any discussion of your brand invariably needs to start with why, and the other three elements, how, what, and who, that make up an organization's cultural values and unique value proposition. The four cultural values are why, the human purpose, how, the business promise, what, the scalable invention or product, and who, the ideal or target customer. We need to understand all four of those values through the lens of shared values, which we'll recall are values fulfilled in an exchange. The shared value framework can be applied to your business promise, scalable invention, and ideal customer as well, but first we want to understand it as the fulfillment mechanism for our highest value, the shared human value, or the animating purpose we fulfill in a business exchange. In this illustration, simplicity, trust, precision, and truth are all values, the things that we hold most dear. Below, we see the exchange that fulfills them: simplicity in design, trust in transactions, precision in manufacturing, and truth in information. Sustainable organizations design everything around the fulfillment of shared values, which begins with question number one. What is the purpose of your business? Why do you do what you do? The why of a business defines the fundamental human need or desire it seeks to fulfill. This should articulate why your business exists beyond making a profit, connecting your goals to broader societal or individual benefits. You want to frame it as a statement of purpose, like alphabets here, to organize and democratize information. Here's why it's important to make the distinction between an exchange and a business model. When Google first launched, their purpose was already organizing and democratizing information, but it was another few years before they introduced advertising. Sometimes the exchange needs time to become an actual business model. To articulate your shared value, here are a few values: sharing, discovery, connectivity, growing, learning, exploring, innovation, and more. And these are some exchanges: transactions, e-commerce, subscriptions, coaching, consulting, and so on. Whether your business is about transformation and research, connectivity and learning, or another shared value, you want to articulate it as a statement of purpose that resonates emotionally and intellectually with stakeholders by aligning with their values. Question number 2 is, what business promise do you make to your customers? Or more simply, how do you fulfill your human purpose with business values? The how describes the business values that fulfill a purpose. It is the business promise that explains how the company intends to deliver on its mission. A mission statement at its most basic is an exchange of values, a human purpose fulfilled by a business promise. In this case, we're looking at the USA's mission statement. Their human purpose, their why, is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And their business promise, or how, what fulfills their why, is government of, by, and for the people. Together, that's the USA's mission construct, which connects a human purpose with a business promise in an exchange of value. The next step is to formulate that exchange as a mission statement. The USA's mission statement together is, to ensure life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, we provide government of, by, and for the people. Alphabet's is, to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful, we provide the easy discovery of a broad range of information from a wide variety of sources. SpaceX is making humanity interplanetary by providing new capabilities to carry humans to Mars and other destinations in the solar system. So we just articulated our mission. Now we need to describe the scalable invention that fulfills our mission. This is your product, and it articulates the version of your product that best meets unmet market demand and fulfills your mission. You'll want to consider 3 key factors, starting with market fit. You need to ensure that your scalable invention aligns closely with current and emerging market trends and demands, and solves a significant problem or fulfills a critical need not adequately addressed by current offerings. It also needs to be innovative and different. The scalable invention should introduce a novel approach or significantly improved solution compared to existing products, distinguishing it in the marketplace. And it should have the capacity to grow and change. You'll want to articulate a scalable invention with the potential to expand its features, services, or market reach over time. This adaptability allows the product to evolve in response to changes in technology, consumer preferences, or market conditions. Once you define what those are, you want to formulate them as the lovable version to really hone your value prop. Here's the tangible what that the USA offers: democratic elections, representative government, and an independent judiciary. Alphabet and its suite of Google products offers internet search advertising, operating systems and platforms, and enterprise systems. SpaceX has a very simple what. They provide advanced rockets and spacecraft. What do all of those scalable inventions have in common? They're attached to a business model or exchange, demonstrating ROI. The USA has to mobilize a voting system in government, Alphabet a slew of products to organize and democratize information, and SpaceX a new generation of rockets capable of connecting us to the solar system. So with 3 questions, we've established why we're doing what we're doing, how we provide it to our customers, and what precisely it is. Now we need to understand our target or ideal customer. Once you've formulated your scalable invention, you want to articulate whose unmet needs your scalable invention best fulfills. Who is your ideal customer? The fundamental task of your scalable invention is meeting unmet needs, so you want to radically focus on your customers' pain points. To ensure the values offered by your product or service are perfectly aligned with the people whose needs you are addressing, you want to understand and document the specific needs, expectations, and preferences of your ideal customer. Identify gaps in the current market that your scalable invention will fill, ensuring that your product is uniquely suited to meet those demands. To gain a deep, empathic understanding of the target customers' lives and the context in which they will use your product, you can use design thinking techniques to map out the customer journey, identifying all touch points and pain points. From a lean perspective, you'll want to ensure that there is a clear problem-solution fit by validating that the product solves a real problem for the identified customer segment. For the purposes of a value proposition, the target customer should be formulated as a customer ideal. Here's the USA's. We the people of the United States. Alphabet is for online users everywhere. And SpaceX, which is selling mostly to NASA, begins with space agencies, but also includes space tourists and explorers everywhere to open future markets. Now we have the wherewithal to assemble a unique value proposition. I recommend you do it initially in a column format like this, in Google Sheets. That way you can create as many rows as you like, going all the way from alpha to omega, and encouraging collaborators to add their own rows and versions. This format is also important because it shows you the essential sequence of values that go into a value proposition. The why is the purpose and the animating reason why you get up every morning. That stands alone. The why plus the how together becomes the mission statement. And then you can add the product and customer segments that allow you to grow and scale. Even if you don't articulate it this way on your About page, you want to write it out like this so you understand that sequence as: to fulfill a human purpose, we provide a business promise with a scalable invention for our ideal customer. That is the essence of a value prop. In Maslow's hierarchy, physiological needs are at the very bottom. These are the things that you can't live without: air, water, food. These are so important that you can't progress further up the hierarchy until they are met. But they're really just the table stakes in human motivation. Product values have the same status in the hierarchy of values. It's hard to make a sale with just a value proposition. You need to understand the feature values, including benefits and distinctions, plans and key features, all the essential product details that go into making a sale. And then you need the positioning values, which anchor those features in a marketplace. Problem solution, why now, opportunity plus open road, and brand pillars. Since we're taking these in the order of discovery, the next big question we need to answer is, what market problem does your scalable invention solve? If you're putting together a deck for an investor, slide 1 will be your value prop, slide 2, the market problem, and slide 3, your solution. Problem solution identifies and articulates the unmet needs that the scalable invention addresses and ensures that the product is not just innovative, but also essential, solving real issues faced by consumers or industries, thus validating its necessity in the market. Start by clearly defining the problem in the market. This could be a gap in existing products or services, an unaddressed customer pain point, or an inefficient process within the industry. The problem should be specific, quantifiable, and relevant to the target audience. Next, describe how your scalable invention addresses the problem. The solution should be direct, feasible, and better than existing alternatives. It should leverage the unique strengths of your product and align with the core values and capabilities of your business. Above all, focus on differentiation. Highlight how your solution is different from and better than what is currently available. This could involve unique features, superior technology, cost effectiveness, improved user experience, or more sustainable practices. Here are some examples of problem solution statements. The USA. Problem. Citizens require effective governance that ensures their rights and freedoms are protected while promoting welfare and security. Solution: the U.S. Constitution provides a system of democratic governance that balances powers across federal and state levels, ensuring life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness through a government of, by, and for the people. Alphabet: their problem is the modern world requires integrated, accessible, and secure digital solutions to enhance knowledge, improve efficiency, and safeguard privacy across various domains. Their solution addresses those needs by providing a suite of interconnected services and innovations across an array of sectors, each designed to optimize accessibility, functionality, and security for users worldwide. Here's the problem SpaceX addresses. Human space exploration is limited by high costs and lack of reusable rocket technology or sustainable life support system. Their solution is reusable rocket technology and cost-effective methods to support missions, aiming to make space travel more sustainable and accessible, thereby opening new possibilities for interplanetary travel and habitation, which ties us back into their mission. Question 7 is, why is your scalable invention essential now in the current climate and marketplace? Why now examines the immediate relevance of your product in the current industry climate and marketplace. It focuses on the urgency and unique timing that makes the invention particularly necessary or appealing right now. To frame the market conditions and industry trends, use a simple visualization tool like this one to compare and contrast your era with previous ones, helping to highlight how previous unmet needs have evolved and how your invention addresses them more effectively. Mapping the progression of industry eras highlights the deficiencies or gaps that each previous era failed to address and provides the historical context that draws a clear line between past solutions and the current needs, underscoring the evolution that has led to the inevitability of your invention. Question 8 is effectively, why us? Why are your team and organization best suited to meet your customers' unmet needs? Your why us statement is another key positioning value, and you should formulate it to capture the nuances of your unique assembly of talent. Focus on team expertise, detailing the qualifications, experience, and skills of your team that are directly relevant. Organizational capabilities, describing the resources, infrastructure, and technological assets that empower your organization to excel. Unfair advantages, explaining any innovative methods, proprietary technology, or unique approaches that your organization uses. And finally, proven track record, providing examples of past successes or achievements. Question number 9 is one of my favorites. Where is the open space in your marketplace, and where can you lead? OpenRoad places your scalable invention in a competitive marketplace and identifies the untapped opportunities in the market where you can lead and innovate without intense competition. With my OpenRoad method, a competitive grid analysis helps you visualize where the business can introduce innovative solutions or redefine market norms. It starts by establishing a unique XY axis based on your 4 corner marketplace values, which define the key values at the poles of your marketplace that will form the axes of your grid. For Princeton Kaizen, these are training versus branding on the x-axis, balancing between teaching a process, training, and facilitating an outcome, branding. And leadership versus invention on the y-axis, distinguishing between motivating and inspiring change, leadership, and providing tactical business design tools, invention. Place competitors on the grid based on how they align with these values, and then identify the biggest gap, which is the open road. That's where your business can best lead the market. You can do this exercise for any business. Alphabet's open road may sit at the intersection of user-centric design versus data security, the x-axis, and commercial solutions versus social impact, the y-axis. By emphasizing user-centric design paired with social impact, Alphabet can advance digital technologies that enhance user accessibility and enrich society. SpaceX's Open Road is at the intersection of technological innovation versus cost effectiveness, the x-axis, and commercial space travel versus scientific research, the y-axis. By focusing on technological innovation combined with commercial space travel, SpaceX is uniquely positioned to transform space exploration. Open Road is really a key value for business development. It gives us a business compass and is a simple way of articulating and visualizing the opportunities to build new markets. Question 10 focuses on your messaging touchstones. Brand pillars are the mantras, slogans, and other messages you come back to on a regular basis. In the example here, we see Google's 8 pillars of innovation, from have a mission that matters, to think big but start small, to never fail to fail. These are the brand elements that define voice, tone, and the sometimes intangible but important ideas that make up your identity. The USA's brand pillars include E pluribus unum, out of many one, and in God we trust. SpaceX uses mantras like making life interplanetary and faster, better, cheaper to communicate its mission and approach to space exploration. Brand pillars don't quite fit in your value proposition. They're not a part of your why now. They're not a part of your why us, but they are important everyday messaging elements that need to be conveyed to your customers. The next question, what are your unique features, benefits, and plans, takes us into the features values. These are critical elements that define the product's appeal and utility to the customer. You want to formulate these as a comprehensive chart of distinctions that clearly outlines your product's unique features and benefits compared to the competition. This chart should highlight why your product is superior or different, providing a visual and textual representation of the product's competitive advantages. In this example, your product is distinguished from competitor A and B through same-day delivery, green distribution, a knowledge base, live tutorials, always-on security, and so on. Anybody who's weighed one piece of software against another has seen these types of charts in action. Our competitor only checks these boxes, but we also offer automated fulfillment and the great price point of $99 a month. Once you organize your feature values into a chart of benefits and distinctions, you've established your storytelling building blocks, or the values of intrinsic desirability. You're almost ready to go to market. Before we can turn them into the marketplace values of fair return, however, we need to have a way of measuring them. The best companies monitor both how and why customers engage, measuring all of the value proposition through 2 sets of metrics. As this value prop demonstrates, empirical metrics measure product market fit, or how product finds customer, the what and who of the value prop. Empathic metrics measure cultural fit, or how your business promise fulfills a human purpose, the why and how of the mission. Which leads us to question number 12. How do you measure customer engagement? Again, empirical metrics are the data points that measure user engagement, sales, subscription rate, churn rate, CPM, bounce rate, completion rate, and anything that drives a clear understanding of how your tangible product is reaching its target customer. Empirical metrics tell you how a customer engages, and they need to follow the 3 A's. They need to be actionable, demonstrating cause and effect, accessible, using tangible units, universally understood, and auditable, which means easily measured against reality. To codify these values, you need to formulate your empirical KPIs. Question 13 asks, how do you measure customer satisfaction? Which brings us to empathic metrics, the human intel that measures mission and ensures that you're fulfilling the most retentive values, the human and business values, which drive purpose and mission and are thus more intuitive. Any value can be measured, but the mission values, sharing, discovery, connection, security, beauty, trust, transformation, and other human and business values often require new units of measurement built around a synthesis of inputs, from surveys to user reviews, sentiment analysis, customer interviews to net promoter score, from retention rates to lifetime values. Think about all the units of measurement you'll need to monitor customer satisfaction. They should address the human and business values at the heart of your mission. Now we're ready to go to market. With dual metrics for measurement, we are ready to move up to the marketplace building blocks. We've established our core storytelling building blocks, the values of intrinsic desirability. We know how to measure success. Now we need to use those desirability values and dual metrics to acquire customers and build a market. There are only two customer values, though acquisition and retention values evolve with each new version of your product. They explain why you acquire and retain customers, which changes throughout the lifespan of a release cycle. Question 14 asks, why does a first-time buyer acquire your product? Acquisition values are the fair return values that influence a customer to buy. They describe your viable product and are measured by the empirical metrics that show how you are turning leads and prospects into customers. Going back to our example set, the USA may acquire first-time users of an online tax filing system with the convenience and speed of processing compared to traditional methods. The government can measure effectiveness through user uptake rates and satisfaction surveys. For new users of Google Workspace, introductory pricing and seamless integration with other Google services are key acquisition values. Alphabet tracks new subscriptions and user activation rates as metrics of success. For new SpaceX clients, competitive pricing and launch reliability are major acquisition drivers. They measure that through contracts secured and client satisfaction indices. Acquisition values might include pricing, unique features, availability, or specific problems they solve. Although we know a low price is not always the reason why a user returns. Which brings us to question 15 and the retention values. These are the fair return values that articulate what makes customers loyal. Retention values describe a lovable product and are measured by both empirical and empathic metrics. For repeat users of the USA's public health services, trust and service quality and consistency are key retention values. Feedback mechanisms and annual health outcome reports help measure retention. For YouTube's returning users, content diversity and platform usability are critical. YouTube measures these through average watch time and returning user metrics. SpaceX's ongoing innovation and improving cost effectiveness retain clients. Customer feedback and repeat contract rates are monitored as key metrics. Most practically, customer values are the basis for product road mapping and release strategy. Let's look at an automated print center, featuring both speedy turnaround times and the highest caliber of printed goods. When mapped across a release plan, with each successive iteration offering a new set of acquisition and retention values, the customer values establish a sequential development strategy. In version 1, low introductory cost is the acquisition value, and ease of use the retention value. In version 2, we introduce just-in-time delivery as the acquisition value, and high-quality products as the retention value, and so on, until we articulate a lovable product, which may feature zero-carbon drone delivery. By understanding acquisition values and retention values in this way, we create an actionable release strategy. Once we've established our customer values, we're ready to move further up the hierarchy to when we acquire and retain enough customers to capture and then move a market. In Maslow's hierarchy of needs, self-actualization, being all you can be, is the beta need, and transcendence, experiencing something beyond yourself, the alpha. In our framework, actualization happens when you've captured sustainable market share, and transcendence when you leap the bounds of your marketplace to impact a broader culture. In the hierarchy of values, market actualization is product market fit, when what you do and why you do it converge into scalable growth. Market transcendence, the apex value in an organizational hierarchy, is when you become the macro indicator and market mover. So question 16 is, what values must you fulfill to capture and retain market share? This represents product market fit, which is established by synthesizing the 5 elements here into a business model. We've already established most of these. Your product needs to address your ideal customer's unmet needs to establish an open road opportunity. Then your cultural and product values and customer experience, all derived from your hierarchy of organizational values, need to move enough customers to capture market share. Actualization values describe how you do that. For the USA's government service, they may be accessibility and reliability. For Alphabet, integration and user-centric innovation. And for SpaceX, cost-effectiveness, reliability, and safety. Once you've established your actualization values, you are anchored in product market fit, which means you're ready to write a business plan. Which brings us to our final question. What values must you fulfill to move your market, create a cultural impact, and establish a business legacy? Market transcendence is the pinnacle of organizational achievement. When you're moving a market and have gone from building computers to changing the way people live. While companies like Apple and Google have transcended their markets to become global cultural avatars, market transcendence more often happens at the local level. It is simply when your business or brand moves a community beyond the scope of a marketplace. The USA's transcendence values are democracy promotion and innovation leadership, what we export to the world. Alphabet's are information democratization, creating an informed global citizenry, and advancing AI ethics, perhaps, shaping the future of AI usage. SpaceX's transcendence values are interplanetary expansion and space accessibility, effectively changing the way humanity views and utilizes space. Once you've answered question 17, you're ready to write your vision statement. You've codified all the elements to make it a reality, so pitch your vision emphatically and forcefully. Here then are the simplified questions that define the 17 values every business needs to codify. Now that you understand what powers them, you can more effectively define them. The collective power of these integrated values lies in their ability to unite every aspect of your organization in a cohesive, value-centric design, ensuring that every decision and action aligns with your brand's identity and mission. This approach not only strengthens internal coherence and enhances market positioning, but also fosters a culture of continuous improvement and responsiveness. You can feed these questions into a GPT and ask for help formulating the 17 values for your business. However, fully articulating your core pillars is not just about taking an hour or two to answer the questions. It's about embedding a deep, actionable understanding of your organization's core values into every layer of your operation, from the ground up. Use them to craft a brand that not only stands out, but stands for something. I encourage you to revisit these questions regularly as your business evolves. They are not a one-time exercise, but a continuous journey. Your ability to articulate and embody these values will not only inspire your team and resonate with your customers, but also define your legacy in the marketplace. Start today and build the foundation that will carry your brand forward into a successful and impactful future. Next, we'll talk about how to use the 17 values to train a GPT on your business essentials. Thank you.